battle for disclosure and controlled opposition. Humanity is enduring a hidden, multidimensional battle for disclosure, which is gradually happening as the collective consciousness shifts into higher dimensional planes as the result of the ascension cycle. It is evident that there is a hijack of the disclosure movement in order to gain total control over how that particular content is being shared with the public. This is occurring via the spreading of familiar narratives and the same propaganda tactics that are used for the purpose of psychological manipulation of the intended audience and the key players. For propaganda to be effective, it has to have a mouthpiece. There must be key players or persons in positions of power with significant control over mass communication media who are thought to have credibility with a large audience that makes them money. Controlled opposition is the predictable manipulation tactic of placing key people in key positions and into leadership roles of a particular movement, who many times have suddenly appeared out of nowhere and offered the public incredible facts or amazing nuggets of truth. Maybe it is a pundit personality looking to gather a large online following through disseminating the cabal wars through the QAnon movement. Maybe it's a guru personality offering DNA activation and the ability to manifest anything you want. As a result of the sensationalism, marketing, or other methods to deliver this level of information, they gain power and influence from the amount of people that have gathered, along with the online clicks and money that is spent on their products or watching them at events. Power and influence are forces gathered through which they become a Pied Piper, a person that is celebrated, worshipped, or made into a hero, seemingly leading gullible people into any direction, when ultimately they were placed there as a wolf in sheep's clothing to derail and hijack the original goals of that movement. The strategy of controlled opposition works best under circumstances in which the masses are gullible, credulous, lack critical thinking, and are unable to connect the dots and see how the actions and inaction or manipulation of the information from the controlled entity is actually benefiting the controlling entity. Deception Tactics 101 are used to generate mental fabrications and emotional reactions intended for seizing control, power, benefits, and advantages at the victim's expense. That may be to intentionally spread disinformation or outright lies to stimulate emotional reactions. So people do not use critical thinking in discerning the quality or truthfulness of the information they are being given. The golden rule of deception is management of the other person's perception, such that they do not know any deception is happening and accept whatever you tell them or spoon feed them as truthful. If we don't realize that we are being lied to, we are at a disadvantage. This blocks out our higher discernment in determining the quality of people and objects that are emanating these combinations of forces that are dark or light, positive or negative, alien or human, or anything else for that matter. The disclosure movement has been intentionally shaped into the left brain composite of the branch of alternative researchers and presenters who still operate on the presumption that the scientific method promoted by academia is credible and attempt to deliver evidence-based information that can be corroborated through multiple parties of expert witnesses. The movement towards disclosure is predominantly geared towards those males that are polarized in their mental body and masculine energy. The intellectual profile that rely on the sole basis of their physical body's 5 main senses. If they can see it in the visible light spectrum, well then, they'll believe it. Thus, the primary profile of key people that are populating the disclosure movement tend to be 3D fact finders and researchers and not direct experiencers. Hence, many are not primarily interested in spiritual development or expanding consciousness. This provides a blaring blind spot for dark manipulation to incite negative ego behaviors, and dominating egos run amok as the result of gaining some power and influence, where promoting a brand, merchandise, or online clicks are more important than actually having personal integrity and delivering high-quality, truthful assessments of the current conditions we find ourselves in. In the New Age Ascension and Disclosure community, where large conferences and panels are gaining commercial popularity and increasing profitability, victims and victimizers are generated in those communities like the flavor of the month, from personal experiences and continued observation of key players. Backstabbing and two-faced lying are standard fare at these events, along with a large smile flashing right on cue to endear the applauding audience. Most seasoned presenters with some semblance of personal integrity and ethical conduct learn very quickly that the majority of the people on these circuits are not your friends or peer group. They will turn on you quite viciously if you deviate from their approved topics or narratives, or if you are perceived as threatening to their power base. Some of the most hostile, mind-controlled people are on these panels and in these communities, and many are being directly controlled by the Thothian groups. Thus, they are highly reactive and emotionally explosive when they feel they are being challenged in any way. Nevertheless, the disclosure event must eventually happen in order to reveal the deceptions, fraud, and crimes against humanity made by those humans and non-humans that have conspired to covertly generate global human slavery and mind control by implementing the blueprint of the negative alien groups for instigating world suffering for the purpose of creating a consciousness prison. Full disclosure event refers to the highest level of extraterrestrial disclosure to Earthlings that reveals the most detailed scenarios of our true hidden extraterrestrial human galactic history, not the manipulated negative alien version of the archontic deception strategy that is used to control the mainstream historical records and enslave the human population since the Sumerian Egypt invasion. Humanity would be briefed beyond just knowing about the existence of the extraterrestrial races, crafts, and cooperative agreements made with earthly world governments. Additionally, humans would be re-educated to know about these negative alien groups, secret space programs, human trafficking, mind control, transhumanism, and artificial intelligence agendas, DNA and genetic manipulation programs on planet and off planet, how Earth, human resources, and technology are used as barter to trade with a variety of off-planet civilizations and extraterrestrial species. Full disclosure event includes revealing the power elite groups and negative alien groups that have abused power on Earth and are required to restore energetic balance to make amends for the crimes they have made against humanity. To stop the targeting of individuals attempting to disseminate the truth by crippling them financially, socially, and otherwise is another reason why disclosure is so important for those of us that seek to know the truth above all. It would remove a huge burden of threats and attacks to those of us under the assorted umbrella of the truth communities that are giving all of our time and energy. That is our life's work to support full disclosure of this information to be freely given to the Earth population. If people were not being lied to, but being re-educated towards the content that includes disclosure, they would be much more open and willing to comprehend the laws of nature and to see how the current death culture was engineered to violate those laws in order to enslave all of humanity. Much of what we see harming people in the world today could be stopped with only critical thinking, common sense, and the ability to reduce some selfishness and greed. Speaking of selfishness and greed, in order to better understand the Thothian Luciferians, the T entities, and the Galactic Federation historical timeline tragedies on planet Earth, we must go back in time to discover the original meaning behind the title of Lucifer.